Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Please do me a favour and take a moment to subscribe, and if you like. This makes a huge difference to the way YouTube actually sort of posts these videos and who they go to and how much reach they get. So thank you so much for doing that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Now I'm going to show you a little sequence, a short video that popped into my head really when I was watching a good friend and a good falconer handling his birds recently, and it made me think, if you haven't learnt something, as in you're ignorant to it, you don't know. I learnt falconry mostly out of books, so kind of I learnt a lot of stuff, the basic stuff, step by step. But of course nowadays people do tend to learn a lot of things online, really basic stuff that can mean the difference between your bird being dead or not being dead. And most people watching this, I would like to think, oh Dave, why have you made a video about that? It's kind of like stage one. But remember, it's not to everyone. If you haven't learnt this, you wouldn't think of it, but it's one of the most important basics, definitely, in falconry and handling birds of prey. So we're going to have a look at Zeus. I'm going to fetch him because he knows what's happening, and he's just popped up there. So Zeus is molting at this time of year, like most falconry birds are, and usually the molting process, the hormones that drive those new feathers to grow, usually results in overgrown beaks or excessive beak growth. If the birds are eating things that are hard, sometimes Zeus gets a frozen rat. Some hawks like to eat a rabbit head or something very bony. But what you'll find is with that, birds that are fed sort of to repletion and pretty high in weight, Wurzel, shut up, that are pretty high in weight, they don't tend to do much things with picking up bony food or a rabbit head or something like that. Your hawk's like, nah, I'll wait for something tastier to come along. So the beaks can overgrow. This time of year, I'm just going to take the tip off. I'm not going to cast him up or hood him and spend time filing away at it. Just going to take the tip off, and at the end of the molt, we'll redress that and make a nice job of that beak if he hasn't worn it down himself. So I'm going to go and get him. He literally does know what's going on because he was down there a second ago where I wanted him. So handling your hawks, first off, let's have a look at his beak. What are you doing? So if you have a look at him here, you can see, what are you doing, boy? You should be able to notice the end of his beak is certainly got very long in the last sort of week to 2 weeks. So we're going to address that, and then we'll make this video. So a quick trim on his beak, literally just took the tip off there. This is what I want to show you guys, and it is important, and it's basic stuff, but if you don't know, I guess you don't know. So when you pick your bird up off the perch or wherever, just take that talon out my finger because this glove's full of holes. If I now hold this tightly and I untie the leash and the bird baits, all of that can easily slip through my grasp, easily, like you cannot even believe. You always put that tethering equipment into safety position. So now if the bird baits, the swivel is going to act as a stop right just there. That swivel will act as a stop. Never, ever untie your tethered bird, ever, until you've gone from this position into safety position. Every single time, or you're going to lose a bird eventually if you're not lucky, with its leash and everything attached. This should be an absolute fundamental habit to anyone picking up a tethered bird of prey. This is not secure. It is only secure when the jesses pass through a couple of your fingers between the two, and the swivel acts as a safety. And if the swivel's being removed and flying straps are being replaced, safety position all the time. It's still far more of a grip than this can ever be. So number one rule, every time you pick up a bird, you can use this fingers here. Sorry Zeus, it's up to you, depending on the length of your jesses. Safety position is an absolute must. And another thing to always bear in mind when you tether a bird of prey is a minimum of 2 falconer's knots. Absolute minimum. One to the tethering ring and another one on the line. Birds of prey will occasionally pick at their knots on their leashes. Many times they'll manage to get at least one of them undone. Always do two. And this little extra bit here, I'll just do a half hitch to tidy it up so it's not causing a tangle. Tie it up to the line here if it's not long enough for another falconer's knot. It doesn't matter if you do 3 falconer's knots, 4 falconer's knots, 5 falconer's knots, all the way up here. Absolute minimum is always 2 falconer's knots. Not sometimes, not in always. If you put the bird down hooded like Zeus is now, 2 falconer's knots, because that bird may get its hood off anyway. This is the most basic falconry stuff. So guys, if you're training new hawks this summer, bear some of this basic stuff in mind. One of the things for sure, you pick a hawk up, you immediately transfer those jesses into safety position before you untie that leash, every single time. And then when you've untied the leash, always tie it on to the D-ring or something on your glove. A loose falconer's knot. If you trip, you fall, the bird baits, something happens, you're not ready. I can tell you the smallest birds are the worst birds for this. You tether those knots to here. It can just be one loose knot. You're holding the bird. It's a safety mechanism in case you trip or fall. The bird will not fly off with its leash. Harris's hawks, every year, the most common species flown, the most common species lost, with all of their tethering equipment attached, because people haven't learned the basics. You are not foolproof any more than the next person. Hope you've enjoyed this short video. I hope you pass it to someone or it jogs your memory, especially if you're just starting out this year with birds of prey. If you're tethering birds of prey, there's so much you need to know to make this tethering system work for you, or rather to stop the bird getting tangled or lost with its equipment on. We'll make that into another video, but for now guys, please remember safety position. Thank you. On that bombshell, please subscribe and we'll catch you in the next video.